9, 10, 10, 10. Hi, very good evening. Today we'll have live discussion on two topics. The first one is I'll just summarize few tips for all the aspirants who are giving AIIMS MDS exam tomorrow at 10 o'clock at your respective centers, and along with that we'll also discuss one general topic. Since it's weekend, we'll discuss one general topic. It's all about your clock. Fine. So once again, a very good evening. Since it's 10:10 p.m., we'll try to conclude the session in 30 to 40 minutes time, so that those who are giving exam can sleep at least by 10:45 to 11 p.m. and sound sleep is very much necessary, especially before exam. Fine. A very good evening, all of you. Hi Pooja. Hi Anovili, Shilpa. Hi Karishma. Subhashish. Saradara. Hi. Hi Niharika. Pragati. Ramyasri, Sukanta, Malavika, Vaishali, Radhu, Pragati. Yes, Priyanka. Hi, a very good evening. Hi, Richa. A very good evening. So, today, as I said, May 6th, tomorrow we have AIIMS MDS exam. So, few final tips before you give your exam, and for all those aspirants right there. So, it's always important to have a good night's sleep. So since we are having a very limited time, so tomorrow is the day of exam. So let me just give you a few tips which are relevant right now. So the first and foremost thing which I would like to stress upon is having a good night's sleep. So no matter how much effort you have put in for the past few months, it's always important that you have adequate sleep, and especially the day before exam, having a good night's sleep is very much essential. I know it will be very much stressful. At the same time, you should have balance of this. Without good night's sleep, you can't expect yourself to perform well in the, especially in the exam, right? So make sure that at least you sleep for 6 to 7 hours. Maybe if you are attending this live session, assuming that the live session would conclude at 11 p.m. If you sleep at 11:15 p.m., so till 6 or 6:30 a.m. early in the morning, that would be perfect. At least 6 to 7 hours of sleep before the exam. And second, as it will be comparatively stressful, make sure that there is no room for speculation. Just don't give yourself these kind of thoughts like what might happen tomorrow, or what happens if I don't get the result in the way in which I am desiring that to be. So no room for speculation. So don't over expect, or don't allow yourself to put into a lot of pressure by thinking all these unnecessary, meaningless things right now. The most important thing here is enjoying your exam. So this might sound funny, but enjoying exam is the key. If you enjoy, in this sense, it's like you are going preparing with some amount of knowledge. So the examiner or the person who is giving a paper is testing for your knowledge online. So it's all about testing yourself. So if you are able to enjoy the exam, then definitely, irrespective of the result, you're going to have a very good experience and a good feeling at the end of the day. Satisfaction is more important than the end result, isn't it? And also, as I said, sleep is very much essential. And along with that, make sure that you don't skip tomorrow's breakfast. A healthy breakfast with less oil. If you're a South Indian, idli. If you're North Indian, anything. It can be bread, or it can be any fruit, right? Green tea, plenty of green tea. Keep yourself hydrated. So I hope you can understand when I say healthy breakfast, right? Nothing of much oily or cheesy. So that would definitely help you stay active. And green tea, take my word, green tea is definitely helpful. And if you are really habituated to having caffeinated drinks, then coffee or tea would also be a good choice, right? And make sure that, I'm sure you'll be following this, you reach the exam center at least 45 minutes to 90 minutes prior to avoid last minute rush. So tomorrow is a Sunday, okay, that's fine. You might not have much traffic in that respective area, but why do you want to rush up till the last minute? So it's always better you reach the center at least 45 minutes to 90 minutes early. Stay relaxed. Most importantly, do not discuss any MCQs or any topics along with your friends, or if you have new acquaintances over there. A casual talk is more essential, and that would serve the purpose rather than discussing some subject or some form of MCQs, right? So refrain yourself from discussing any subject till you complete your exam. Consider this very, very important, right? Because discussing subject now is not going to make any difference now, isn't it? And also, I would like to highlight one important fact, especially when you're giving exams. So all these things you can follow till you go start your exam. But once you start your exam, online format, as you're all familiar with, 10 to 11:30 a.m., 90 minutes, 90 MCQs, one third negative marking, which makes this exam even more challenging. But the thing here is a reality. The fact is, everyone has the same pattern. So you need not really take up more stress compared to others. So remember, those who remain more calm and composed and those who exude confidence tomorrow are definitely going to do good compared to others. It has nothing to do with preparation, believe me. It has nothing to do with preparation, but it all has something to do with confidence. The amount of confidence you exude on the day of exam. That is really very essential, and that will keep you in high spirits. And as I said, enjoy your exam, enjoy attending and giving the exam, right? And while giving exam, make sure, as we discussed, it's one third negative marking. Do not try attempting all the questions with the hope that all the questions would be correct. So based on probability, you might go wrong, right? Since it is negative marking, there can be a chance if you go attempt all questions, even if you have no idea, then you might be losing your valuable marks, your hard-earned marks, right? So one fourth negative marking, usually we say if you can exclude one question, maybe you can take the benefit and give a chance and answer. But since it is one third, make sure that if you have no idea regarding that question, and if you can probably eliminate at least two options, then you can give the benefit of doubt and go ahead answering that particular question. Only if you can rule out two options among the four, right? So consider taking that risk. It is acceptable as per the probability. So do not attempt all questions and try to attend the exam or complete the exam in minimum of two phases. This is very important. First phase, as we have discussed previously on several occasions, try to solve all the questions which you are really confident in, 100% confidence. So in the second phase or third phase, depending upon the complexity of questions, you can try solving the paper in a number of phases based on your convenience and based on the amount of time that's available, right? And remember, not attempt all questions if you're not confident. We might have this sense of greed that I don't know this question. What if I go ahead and answer? What if the question is right, or what if I get an extra mark? Also remember, if you are wrong, if you have marked that question wrong, then there is a greater chance that you'll be losing one third mark, not from that question, but from those questions which you have answered right. So you should get that point. So it's not just about taking the risk and then answering all questions. It's all about making calculated risks, right? So if there is any wrong way of, or if you're not really confident in answering that question, and if you go ahead answering that, then obviously you'll be losing hard-earned marks, as I mentioned previously, right? So if you can eliminate at least two options, then you can take the risk and go ahead answer the question. Fine. And finally, as I said, try to solve the paper in at least 2 or 3 phases, which is very essential, right? So don't get stuck with one question if you find it very complex to answer. Since it is online, since you'll have an option to move forth back and forth, then you can always leave the unanswered question or complex question, and you always have a chance to get back to it, right? So use that facility. And finally, once you're done with the exam, stop discussing all MCQs at least for that day. Relax, and then the very next day, or maybe when you feel it's fine, or you just make sure that you enter all your questions, whatever you can remember, and we shall definitely discuss in our groups, and also we'll try to gather as many questions as possible, and we'll put a paper discussion video as soon as possible, right? So these are a few important things which I wanted to actually share just before exam. I know it's very late, but it's never too late. It's better late than never, as they say, isn't it? That's what I wanted to highlight in this particular video on one side of the coin, right? So I'll pause for a few minutes, I'll go through your comments, and then we'll discuss my favorite and the most important topic of this live session. It's all about your clock. Fine? Hi Bernice, a very good evening. Hi Farheen, Amina, hi. Hi BA. Sridevi, hi, a very good evening. Uh, it seems to be streaming fine here, Pooja. I'm not sure if you have any issue with your internet connection. It seems to be streaming fine. Yes, thanks, Bernice. Yes, yes, it's definitely natural to feel anxious. And it's a very good sign. In fact, feeling anxious now is a very good sign. At the same time, you should control your emotions, because the reason why I said it's a very good sign is it means you have some concern towards the exam. It means you have concern for yourself and for your future. So if you're feeling anxious, that's completely normal. At the same time, we have to take precautions not to let that anxiety ruin our present moment and disturb our sleep. If that's happening, there is something wrong, and we should seriously deal with anxiety issue. So just remember, we have two students. One student has extremely worked hard, studied for hours together, but is feeling extremely anxious. He is very tense about the exam. Take other student. Okay, even he studied fine, and he is comparatively relaxed and composed, as I mentioned previously. Relaxed and composed. Both of them are having the same exam, and they're having same time, same number of MCQs, and same negative marking, and everything is the same. Whom do you think would obviously perform better? So there is no second doubt, second thought in it, right? So if you're calm, composed, relaxed, even though it takes a lot of effort, right? A lot of willpower, in fact, to have that calmness and composure just before exam. And by now you should be reaching this point, because right from first standard in your schooling, you have been giving exams. You have been giving almost 4 or 5 exams every year, and as you know, each exam is considered to be of paramount importance. First unit test, very very important. Second unit test, third unit test, quarterly, half yearly, annually. I don't know why, but we give a lot of importance to all the exams right from our childhood, and even still we feel anxious about exams, and there is something to really introspect and think about, right? So with time, definitely we'll mature, and by now you should be maintaining calm and composure, right? Which is very significant, and that obviously reflects in your result. The more calm and relaxed you are, the better you'll perform. The free your mind is, the better thoughts will be coming, and the better will be your performance. It's all relatively proportional, right? I hope you got my point, Priyanka. Hi Srish, a very good evening. Yes, Devana. Hi. Yes, it's never too late, as Avnish said. It's never too late, and it's better late than never. Hi Avnish. Very good evening. Yes, Bernice, that's true. So I hope you got my point, and I wish you all the best. And just enjoy your exam. So finally, regarding our first part of the session, I can tell you one thing for sure: enjoy your exam. Consider that as just one test. It's like any other test. You might have given many mock tests. It's just like any other test. That's it. The more importance you try to give, the more stressed up you are. Right? It's just another exam, and I'm sure you will rock. It's all about self-belief. No matter how much effort you put in, stay relaxed, believe in yourself, use your presence of mind, and most importantly, enjoy the exam. Fine? So the second part of the session which I wanted to highlight actually is regarding your clock. So what do you mean by your clock? It's all about your clock. In general, okay, fine. If I ask you one question, let me just ask you one direct question, and I want frank answers so that we can initiate our discussion today. So, first of all, what makes you worry right now? What makes you worry right now? It can be right now in the sense it can be right at this moment, or right on this day, or it can be this week, this month, this year, or maybe these couple of months or these couple of years. So what is that one or two factors? I mean, if you can jolt them down based on the order of frequency. So name few things, like one or two things which really make you worry. Yes, Bernice says failure. Okay, you are worried about failing. Farheen says, okay, we are worried about failing. BA says selection. You mean whether you'll be able to get a seat or not, right? Pooja says she is worried about a cumulative exam in test series tomorrow. Okay, you're worried about exam. You're worried about failure. Failure in exam, right? More or less. Bernice and Farheen, I consider that as failure in exam, not in other aspects. So we're talking, mostly we're worried about academics right now. We're more concerned about academics, failure in academics. Good. Yeah. Bernice also says we're also worried, like what will be my future. Good. I mean, the more replies I get, the more diverse our discussion can be, and the more relevant it will be. So those who are watching live, make sure you give your views, right? Yes. So you're worried only about failing in exam, or about future? Anything else that's bothering you? Career. So obviously we're worried about our future, worried about our career, our academic performance. Mm-hmm. So anything else? Most of us are worried, maybe all the time till we die. Most of us are worried. We are worried because we are not sure whether we would score high in our high school. We are worried whether we would do well in our plus one or plus two or intermediate. We are worried whether we would do extra. I mean, we can say extremely well in long terms if you are planning, if you have done or undergone some kind of coaching. So it's more or less the academic part, right? We are worried about our marks, we are worried about our ranks, we are worried about our future, we are worried about our friends, like they might be doing things, they might be settling fast comparatively. We are worried about our parents, we are worried about many other things. So worry seems to be a common factor here. So there can be several reasons for the worry, right? So in fact, most of these worries like worry towards your future, towards your career, towards academics, failing in academics, or towards exams. Or it can be even personal issues like worrying whether you would find the right person or the right partner. So worry seems to be a common issue here. But in fact, in most of the cases, these worries are mainly because of our conditioned way of thinking. And I can give you numerous illustrations. Most of these worries are because of our conditioned way of thinking, because we are pressurized, we are forced to think in a predetermined or prefixed manner. If you remember, whenever you are in 7th or 8th standard, they used to say 7th standard, or we used to have these public exams in 7th, and we were conditioned, making us believe that 7th exam, final exam, is very important. I'm not sure if this is the case in all states in India, but in 7th we have something called as public. So they used to condition us, and they used to literally frighten us by saying 7th exam is very important since it's public, you have to perform well. You come to 10th, they say 10th is the most important exam, you have to perform extremely well. And when you're in plus 1, plus 2, they say you're in crossroads now. So it's time for you to focus on your future and to choose the right path, whether it is mathematics or science. We have only two, as if we are conditioned and made to believe that we are having only two subjects. Either engineering, or maybe mathematics or engineering, or science. Forget about the rest of the subjects. And once you enter graduation, you're conditioned and made to believe that you have to complete your graduation on time, and you should have a decent degree in order to set up a clinic or to go for masters. And once you're done with graduation, we are conditioned, and we are made to believe that post-graduation is mandatory, or setting a clinic is mandatory, or getting married, in case of girls in our country, getting married in internship or soon after BDS is mandatory. So we're conditioned that way. And once you're married, obviously you have to bear children. Again, that's mandatory. And once you bear children, you have to take care of them, and it goes on and on. In case of boys, obviously, you're made to do post graduation or any other thing, and you start your own clinic, and then it goes on and on and on. So it never stops. So it's like we're conditioned to believe that only that particular thing is important in that particular context. And we never see an end to this entire phenomenon. It goes on, and we are worried constantly. We are worried constantly, literally believing that this is very important, and if I fail in doing this, if I fail in 10th, if I fail in 7th, if I fail in 10th, or if I fail in intermediate, long-term, graduation, post-graduation, clinic setup, if I fail in any of the steps, we consider ourselves as zero. And as Einstein rightly says, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it would live its whole life believing that it's a fool. And that's how we are made to believe. In fact, most of us who have selected dentistry are made to believe that we are second-rate or third-rate students. In fact, I've heard a few faculty from my own experiences saying that we are all second-grade or third-grade students. Since we failed to enter medicine, we're coming here. I don't think that's the case here. As I said, the Einstein's quote fits in here perfectly. Not everyone can do medicine. Not everyone can go ahead and do only few select branches or cream. It's nothing like that. So any branch is unique. Any branch has its own speciality. Since we are conditioned to think in a specific way, we are taking things too seriously. We are pressurizing ourselves in the process, and we are considering success or failure based on a single achievement. If you do well in exam, you think you are successful. If you fail in exam, we think we are big failures and we are zeros. And as I said, even as faculty, most of us have that kind of opinion that students who come to dentistry are second grade or third grade, and it's completely nonsense and rubbish, isn't it? As I keep on saying, everyone is unique, everyone has their own speciality or talent. It's all about your clock, and this is the point which I wanted to highlight. It's all about your clock, it's all about your time. It's all about my clock, it's all about my time. So everyone has, they say every dog has its own day. Everyone has their own time to prove themselves. When I was studying, along with me, my friends who took engineering, they've settled at the age of 23 or 24. very fast, and they started earning decent income. So I used to consider myself as a failure. But time and again, it's all about your time. That's what I'm saying. Time and again, it's proved that you have patience, you work consistently, you work hard, you believe in yourself. These are the three factors which I firmly believe in. It's not just about entrance preparation. It can be anything in general. You can generalize these three factors. You just believe in yourself. That's very much important. And along with that, you work hard, consistently, and you'll see the result. It's not about getting married at the age of 23. It's not about finding job at the age of 25. It's not about buying a car or building at the age of 28. Or it's not about settling in life by the age of 35. If you're thinking that way, if we are thinking that way, it's nothing but the result of our conditioned thinking. Because we're forced to think that way, which is highly inappropriate. Because if you go by those rules, you will suffer and you will face a struggle throughout life, and you will have this constant worry throughout life. Let life flow. Let your own time come into place. Why worry? When you can really have that kind of maturity and understanding that, okay, let things flow at their own pace. Let me just give my best, enjoy the process of doing things, and most importantly, it's about leading a meaningful and purposeful life. In fact, if you're doing something for yourself, that's great. But if you're doing something for sake of others, in the process, even you get benefited. That would be the ultimate measure in my terms. It's not just about you. It's about giving a quality product. It can be anything. I'm just generalizing it. It can be either as a dental practitioner, giving some treatments, or as a teacher, teaching some lessons, or it can be as a researcher. It can be anything. Leading a meaningful, purposeful life and trying to do something in order to make a difference in others' lives would be the ultimate measure. And that itself is a success. And it's not just about scoring high. And I find it really funny that most of us literally struggle to apply theoretical concepts to practice. In fact, we're so good at theory that we don't even understand the very purpose of learning the theory. We really fail awkwardly in applying those basic concepts in practice. I'm not just telling it random. Based on my observation and based on my experience, I can tell you with lot of confidence, this happens. So there is a lot of gap or space between what we're actually learning in theory and what we're applying in practice. It's all because of our conditioned way of thinking that marks are the only criteria, ranks are the only criteria, and we are successful only when we get a top mark or top rank, which is totally meaningless and foolishness. That's very, very important. So once you start thinking and once you realize that life has to flow along at its own pace without any hurry, right? You'll definitely enjoy. You can overcome most of these worries, and we still have a lot many challenges. What we are facing, what you say as worries now, might be only minute worries maybe after 5 years or 10 years. These things really won't matter then. So it's all about time. So wait for your time, wait for your clock. At the same time, it doesn't mean you stop still and wait for your time. It's all about believing in yourself, sticking to your goals, and then keep on working. So you might get your own time. I might be successful at one particular age. You might be at the other age. Ultimately, it's all about, as I mentioned, it's all about leading a meaningful, purposeful life, trying to make a difference in other people's lives, and that would give us ultimate satisfaction at the end of the day, and that itself is success. So this is what I wanted to highlight in the second part of the session. You have any further queries, you can drop them, and you have any further concerns, you can drop them in the live chat, and if you feel that it's too personal to share, you can always drop a mail. Yes, Priyanka, and also worried about how I can sustain myself in this competitive world. You need not really worry. It's like a rat race, and it doesn't matter even if you come first in rat race, because we still remain rats. So that's how we can compare this kind of competition. So don't worry about competition. If you think you fit here, you just sustain your activity and then proceed. If you think it's not your path, ignore. Find what your find where your true passion lies in. It can be anywhere. It can be anything. And tapping onto your potential, and that it might take time definitely, but that ultimately gives you so much of satisfaction, and that itself will inspire many people around you. And if I ask, around 90% of the people would say, if I ask most of you, like a majority of you would say, why are you doing masters? I hear majority of my students saying that we're planning to do masters because our seniors are doing masters, or because they have advised us to do masters, or because of some illogical, meaningless reasons. So that's the unfortunate thing we have here. It's all because of this conditioned way of approach. Yes, Ramyasri, Pragati, Priyanka, Ritu, hi. No, Nabil, I don't agree when you say we are forced to join this rat race. We all have the choice. Do you remember the movie called Matrix, the first part? I mean, the hero is offered two pills. I don't remember the colors, but one will be, I think it's red, the other will be blue. So the other Morpheus, the main character, not the hero, but the other character says you always have a choice. You just can't say we're forced to. Maybe we're forced to some extent, I definitely agree, but later on at least you'll have the choice. We always have the choice. And we can't blame others. Uh, if someone forces you literally into what you're doing right now, there's no point in blaming others now. So at least since you agree that you're being forced into this competition rat race, maybe it's time for you to understand what to choose in coming future, and make sure that you don't repeat the same kind of mistakes, and force your children maybe most probably into these kind of rat races. Yes, Bernice, as Bernice says, everyone has their own time zones. Exactly, Priyanka. It further ends to nothing. That's what I said. We start from schooling. It doesn't end anywhere. At least, I mean, it ends when you die, or even after your death. The same kind of condition thinking will be transferred to your children. It goes on and on for generations together. Yes, BSA's actually dentistry concept among people is such that it frustrates about doing what? Yes, Priyanka. You're most welcome, Bernice. It's not about making your life simpler, but it's maybe I feel like it's my job to highlight these simple facts. It's not that I'm telling something which you're not familiar with. We're all familiar with all these ideas. But the thing is, as Nabila rightly pointed out, unfortunately, most of us are, in fact, that's a harsh reality. We are being forced into things which we literally don't enjoy. We are being forced into things, and this is really unfortunate. As humans, we all do enjoy a lot of freedom and independence. Not just humans, any living organism would enjoy that freedom or independence. But if you're forced into going into something, that's really unfortunate. Maybe it's high time for us to understand what our interests are and where our interests lie in, and then going as per our own pace, or in our own pace, that itself will give you success, rather than trying to go yourself and fit in some um, unknown area, and then trying to prove yourself. It would be very unfortunate, and the end result would be only frustration and depression. Yes, Pragati says it's very difficult to get government seat, scared for future. But those who afford private rank and marks don't affect them. That's what I'm saying. So if you consider all of these factors in this rat race, definitely it will be very much terrifying and it will be worrisome. Yes, Bernice, I do agree. Just being a BDS one can earn, definitely. I've known many of my seniors, many of my staff who have done BDS and who are extremely doing well. Yeah, that's what. If you think only MDS can earn, then that's really unfortunate. It's not just. It has nothing to do with degree. Maybe they're looking into the degree, MDS or BDS, but BDS with potential to work and with a passion for learning many new techniques and then practicing them. I have many friends of mine, many juniors of mine, many seniors of mine who are just BDS and they're earning a lot. It's ultimately about your passion. It has nothing to do with MDS. Masters is something where you really go into one specialty out of interest and out of passion to learn one specific branch in detail, and it's not that you learn everything in that 3 years time. It's a lifelong process. So with BDS definitely you can earn well, you can earn extremely well. Yes, Pooja, you're most welcome. Yes, how to earn obviously depends on your skills and how you manage. Yes, Priyanka, definitely, definitely, we can make it possible. If you want to explore entire world with dentistry, I mean with dentistry as your background, you can do it. There are means and ways to do it. Once you complete your graduation, once you start learning many courses, once you start visiting different places, then you'll have wider perspectives, and definitely yes, we can explore world with dentistry as a backdrop, and even I'm trying to do that. Yes, BA, exactly. If you are a good clinician and have sufficient knowledge, you can do anything, and yes, passionate. Yes, Karishma, how? Let me just give you some few examples. If you are a very good clinician and if you have mastered few techniques, you'll always have a chance to visit different places or different countries to coach or to teach students or practitioners over there regarding the techniques which you are familiar with. One. And second, if you are a researcher, then obviously you can work at different places, you can have a tie with different universities. Third, if you are a teacher or if you are in academics, if you are in the teaching side, definitely you can explore different parts of the world, you can visit different universities all over the world. It's all about your interest and passion, and uh, you can learn, and also at the same time you can teach. So it is possible, it is practically possible. But the thing is, most of us won't explore such options out of fear of failure. We only stick on the safe side of completing BDS or setting up a clinic, or completing MDS or going for consultations, or completing MDS or working naam ke vaste in a college for sake of monthly salary. Not in all cases, but in majority of the cases. I can't blame anyone. I can't blame everyone in this case. But in majority of the cases, that's what is happening. I need not specifically say all of this, and you're all very familiar with the circumstances out there. Volunteering options. I didn't get your question, Priyanka. What do you mean by volunteering? Yes, Bernice, definitely. Scope after BDS, sure. It's always there in my mind, but because of time constraints, or maybe I couldn't allot more time in order to complete the topic, I couldn't really do any session on the same. But definitely we'll have one session on scope after BDS. That would be very much relevant and useful for majority of you. There is as such no specific research course or course called research course, but you can apply different universities based on your areas of interest. With BDS as backdrop, you can apply many universities. I have one of my friends, in fact, who has entered into PhD research. He has been into research. I have one senior who has been in research in US, works for Dentsply, I reckon now, and another friend from a different university. You can, of course, based on your interest. And all the information is given in all the websites. It's all about approaching and then inquiring and then proceeding accordingly. Yes, I got your point, Priyank. You mean to say with the BDS degree you have here, most of the other countries, it's like you need to either qualify a licensing exam, then you can definitely go work out there. I'm not sure of African countries or other Asian countries, but in majority, it's like you have to give a licensing exam in order to practice with your BDS degree in India. Karishma, the best thing is which country you're planning, and you can get the list of universities in Google, and based on the list, you can approach. That's what even my friends have done, and that's what even I would do. Just go through the university websites, official websites, and see for research options. You'll get all the information on web. It's all available. Yes, exactly, Karishma. Yes, Bernice, right now I am in Busan. We are in Busan. It's second largest city in terms of population in South Korea. And definitely we'll have a street walk, a live session tomorrow or day after tomorrow, depending on the climatic conditions. Okay, you have any further questions? You're talking about that screen, it's actually a television. South Korea, we find LG, Samsung, most of them are from South Korea, right? So this is a TV, a television. It's a television, LG company. It looks a bit different. Yes, we'll take a train to Busan after 2 or 3 days. We are eagerly waiting for train to Busan and for zombies. And those who have missed, we have a movie called Train to Busan. Uh, it's definitely horror come comedy. You can try watching it. No, Priyanka, people here are lovely, so no zombies, nothing. And as I said, people are very polite, very friendly, very helpful, and it's cool, extremely cool. Yes, Pavan, which year you are in depends. I mean, when should you start preparing for this depends on which year you are in. Now is the right time. No matter which year, it depends on the subjects which you have to complete, and now will be the right time. Yes, Karishma. This is really appreciating that you are taking time for us even in your vacation. It's my pleasure. As I said, where there is a will, there is a way. So It's all about our priorities. No, there is not much. I mean, language barrier is that's true. I mean, it's not purely English speaking country. So we will find that as a challenge because the English accent here is also completely different. It's like Koreanese, Korean language. So it's a barrier, but maybe Google Translate is something which really saves you. You have Google Translate and you're literally saved. Yes, language is a barrier. Abhinay, there is nothing like no scope for non-clinicals or clinicals. Again, that's a conditioned way. It's all about market demand. People who say there is no demand for non-clinicals, they're talking in terms of market demand, and there is, I mean, that would be nonsense. If you are really interested in doing a post-graduation in a non-clinical subject, please go ahead, prove yourself. You can learn clinicals or you can learn clinical aspects also, and you can practice them later. There is no rule that a non-clinician or non-clinical postgraduate shouldn't practice. Right? It's ultimately about your interest, and I've known many people who have done extremely well and who are masters in aesthetics in spite of doing post-graduation in oral pathology. Andesh Mayekar, very well known, Mumbai based. Uh, you just Google, you will get all the information. He has done oral pathology PG, but he is renowned to be one of the best cosmetic dentists, aesthetic dentists in India. So leave out all that. It's all about your interest and your passion. Which is your favorite subject? Go based on that. Yes, Pawan, we'll talk about the PG preparation and discussion. You can drop a mail at proudtobedentist@gmail.com and you can get back to me there. I haven't seen Kim Jong yet. Maybe we'll be going to DMZ, demilitarized zone, and we hopefully might have a glance. I'm just kidding. Okay, fine. So tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we'll have a walk-in street live session in Busan, and the skylines here are just awesome. So we'll see you again with another live session Sunday or Monday. We'll update you the same in our WhatsApp update group. Yes, you can contact me at proudtobedentist@gmail.com, right? Yes, I am here on personal reasons and I'm using it for professional sake also. Yeah, so it's almost 2 a.m. here. So see you again. Bye and love you all. All the best.